What's going on, everybody? Good evening to you. It's Tuesday, 7:30, very different time, and this is either going to be absolutely amazing or an epic fail, and I'm here for it either way. But I'm excited to hang out with you guys. I know a lot of folks who don't get to tune in on Tuesday. We wanted to give them another opportunity to maybe check in and just ask questions and tune in, whether you're watching live or you're watching a replay. I appreciate you hanging out. Today, we're going to talk about a myriad of things. I think I have 15 sort of things lined up here, but really answering your questions is why I'm here. So while I'm trying to talk about what's going on in Central Florida and all the good things going on here, I want to answer your questions. So if you have things that pop in that you've come here to burning desires, make sure you drop them down in the comments below and we'll get those answered. What's going on, David Dyer? Good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you guys. First thing, if you guys haven't tuned in before, is we always ask every Saturday when we usually do these lives is, where are you watching from? I like to find out, where our audience tuning in from? Are you here in Orlando already? Are you moving to Orlando? Some of you have already kind of know what's going on here in terms of the deal. Barry's watching from Chesapeake Bay, Maryland. What's going on? David checking in from the Bay Area. How are you? Tom says, watching from my gated community townhouse in Horizon West. What's going on? Matthew is watching from Wisconsin. Good to see you. Liz, amazing agent on our team. Good to see you, hanging out from local. Let's see, Oak Brook, Illinois from Andrew. Editor is watching from Irvine, California. And awesome. I appreciate the first question here. We'll make sure we answer that right away. Get a couple more people checking in. We got DJ or D Sal from North Carolina. Good to see you. Good to see you. Cody from Winter Park, driving home from work listening, man. I kind of assume that there's going to be a decent amount of people that check in from probably the United States and Canada. Live driving home from work. So it's so good to see you. Brandon, what's going on from Summerport? Not too far away at all. Super early in Istanbul. I think you might be the first person watching from Istanbul. So thank you for hanging out. So let's get into some questions here. Good to see you all. Anchorage, Alaska. So stinking cool. I love this. All right. All of you guys came here for a few things, either real estate in Florida / Orlando, theme park news, or many things mixed in together. And so I've got a couple things for you that I think you are all going to like. One of the first things I want to talk about today is Storyliving by, let's see, add this to stream. Storyliving by Disney. This was one that came out this week. And, it's interesting to me because Disney has this new development kind of coming in, and it's going to be kind of what it seems like Celebration meets Golden Oak, probably similar pricing to Celebration, well, as it sits today, but really quality, more of the little bit higher quality. They're going to have entertainment director. They're going to have a ton of other things. Let me get this closed out. Remove from dock. How do I close this out, you Mac people? Minimum using. Scale effect. Anyways, so they're going to have essentially really high-end homes, but not Golden Oak, right? It's going to be a little bit more accessible. And if you go through their website and you sit there and say, okay, what are they projecting here? There's some of these things that say they're going to be 55 and older, but other ones that say that they're not. And so they didn't really tell too much about it other than the fact that they're going to be launching these throughout the country. And really what is very interesting to me is that the first one wasn't here in Orlando. And I think that shocked a lot of people, thinking like, why wasn't this first one in Orlando? Here's what I do know is that they are working on land here in Orlando. It hasn't been announced yet, but they are negotiating on something here locally. I would really be shocked if they don't announce that within the next six months to a year or so, because I think they have a lot more opportunity land-wise here than they do in California, especially when you think about the pricing. And so if they did a 55 and older community, say gated, and it was close to Disney within 25 to 35 minutes, I think that would go over really, really big. I think that the Villages and Del Webb would really have something to not maybe worry about, but they'd have real competition. And so we'll see. There's plenty of land in Osceola County. There's plenty of land all around. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing. So Gary from Clermont, good to see you. Mr. Chris Gray, good to see you, sir. What's going on? Mr. Kenneth Olson, great name. I appreciate you hanging out. Good to see you. All right. So some other things we have for you tonight. I want to talk about. So beyond that, um, here's a few new developments. If I'm looking at where in Central Florida is something going to be really popular in regards to new construction. Hey Kelly, good to see you. New construction. Where do I feel like the next big things are going to be coming into? I talk about a lot about Horizon West. I talk a lot about Lake Nona, and those are still amazing. I talk a lot about Clermont lately because I think that those are amazing. When I start looking into like permitting right now, I am massively impressed by what's going on here in St. Cloud. You look at St. Cloud, there are many, many new developments that are getting popped up. And, you talk about Sunbridge, which is a 25,000 home neighborhood. That's something that's going to be massive for years and years to come. But like that's coming, right? They have new neighborhoods that are opening, but like what else is down there in St. Cloud beyond Sunbridge? And so digging into the permitting here, I'm looking at like this new neighborhood, $50 million valuation. They're looking at 700 homes. It's between 500 buildings, townhome, single family, and it's by this new builder that I've never heard of, Stanley Martin Homes. And so, which made me realize, okay, I need to go look at who is Stanley Martin Homes. It looks like they have a couple neighborhoods here in Central Florida, but they've actually started acquiring other builders. Avex Homes here, which has actually been around for quite some time, and they're doing a really smart play. Not only are they looking to build new neighborhoods here locally, but they're buying up properties or other builders that already have land. They've got here, you can see 4,400 controlled lots when they bought Avex Homes. And then I started digging a little bit deeper. Okay, even beyond that, what's their first, new neighborhood? And it's in St. Cloud. And so the Brack family seeks residential zoning, 432-acre ranch in Osceola County, Drac Brack Road. And this has now been approved and moving forward. And so if you're curious on where this might be, I've got that for you. So Brack Road, we're going to come down here. And so all of this land right here, and to put this in perspective, this is Narcoossee right here. Over here is Lake Nona. And over here is Sunbridge. And so you've got another 700 homes going in here. So a few things. I'm curious to see what your questions are. Good to see you, my backyard science. My questions to you is that Narcoossee Road, if you've ever driven that, it is pretty rough around like 3 and 8 a.m. Like 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. School times, essentially, pick up and drop off. It's a nightmare. People trying to get up and down there. Now, they are going to be adding an extension road off of 417 to make it a little bit easier to get in and out of there. But you're talking about essentially dumping 30,000 houses up and down this Narcoossee strip in St. Cloud over the next, 10 to 15 years. It's a lot of roofs. It's a lot of what's currently farmland going into something very, very different. So what do you guys think about that? Appreciate it, man. Cody, I appreciate the custom home thing, man. There's a lot of people that asked about it. So it's very interesting. Spencer says, any truth in the rumor behind People Mover connecting to that Disney 55 and older community? No, I don't believe that there will be. But I do believe that the neighborhood would be close enough to the airport that you could like ride the Bright Line over if you wanted to, because it's going to eventually connect from MCO over to Disney Springs. Now, is that really going to be saving you any time or money? If you're going to drive a car over to the airport, park it and get on the Bright Line, probably just keep going down the freeway. So that's what I'm thinking. When will Disney open a dollar store? They seem to be licensing everything. Oh, man, I don't know. What's going on from Novi, Michigan? You're not too far from my old stomping grounds where I grew up. What's going on? So yeah, this is massive to me. This new St. Cloud piece is just huge. I think that and really Winter Haven. If I was going to invest for like the long future, and you're willing to play that long game, and you're trying to like stay in a lower budget, because that's the thing, Lake Nona is expensive. Horizon West is expensive. Winter Park is expensive. Downtown Orlando is getting expensive. But if you want to kind of get into that $300,000 to $400,000 range and you want to hang on for a long-term investment, I think Winter Haven, and which is like, just south Orlando, and St. Cloud are two to really consider because there's lots of land there and good pricing. Clermont, obviously, is what's going on. I think a big one. One thing out of Clermont that came out of this week, which I thought was interesting, Clermont City Council rejects plan for the View apartments on State Road 50. And these are quite nice. And the developer's whole idea behind this was let's offer some affordable housing in Clermont via apartments. And I've talked about this before. Apartments are going to be the new affordable housing for most people because the price of supplies right now, new construction houses really just don't start under 300. And so for most people, that's just unaffordable. And so, especially with the land acquisition costs getting to be crazy, apartments are just kind of the way of the future. And so, unfortunately, this neighborhood got vetoed by the city council. And part of the reason why was there was apparently some big the retaining wall. Clermont, if you don't know, is like very hilly. And so the developer wanted to put in this big retaining wall to kind of help make this work. They even had a 2-tiered pool to try to take advantage of the topography. And so they vetoed it. They didn't like the layout. They didn't like the ingress, and the egress. And it's, it's interesting. You start thinking about city council developers going head to head. And I think in this part, actually, the city council was right. Even though we desperately need affordable housing, you got to build it right. And the fact that these guys are slowing down to not let new construction just run rampant and let them build just anything is probably a good thing. Do we need the housing though? Yeah. So hopefully they come to a head in a good way. There's one cancellation here. Oh, let me see this here. What do I think? What's going on, NYC Iron? You wish it were Saturday. Yeah, I know, man. I hope you had a great Tuesday though. A little midweek action. Tom asks, when am I going to the Star Cruiser? In March. In March. I don't like to say like online when I'll be gone, but yeah, it's in March, and I'm excited. I'm like massively excited. I've got some sneak peeks from friends that have gotten to see it, and dude, I'm really excited. Here's an interesting one that I was bummed about because I was really, really high on it. Let me just get rid of this bar in the bottom though. This is so annoying to me. Minimize dock preference. How do you turn this thing off? I don't know. If you guys are Mac people, let me know how to turn this off. Anyways, this is I was bummed about. Orlando Museum of Art's downtown expansion was called off this week. And when you start asking, reading why, there's really no answer why. The Museum of Art said, hey, listen, it just was wrong timing for us. And this is in the midst of them having to go through, I guess there were some things, some issues where some works of art that they had hanging, people were basically saying that they were frauds and that they were not real. And so literally that story broke. And then this story of them not expanding broke right after that. They came back out after this story broke and said, no, like we've already authenticated all of the art. You guys don't know what you're talking about, essentially. So it's just interesting to me. I don't know what's going on at the Orlando Museum of Art, but I'm a fan. I think that them expanding all over, their vision of like adding another campus and then going over to Lake Nona and like helping bring more art and culture to Orlando is needed. Like, I love the theme parks. I love who we are as a city, but bringing in some of these like older pieces of art and just exposing us to like, we're an international destination. We should have cool pieces of art from all over the world. And so it's a bummer to see that this didn't move forward. Now I did keep moving in on like permitting and stuff. The building is still moving forward. So that space is going to be available. There's still going to be condos and that sort of thing. But the fact that they pulled out is kind of a bummer. What do y'all think? Goodness gracious. I missed out. I should have done Taco Tuesday. The best taco in Orlando. MX tacos are probably my favorite. There's a bunch of really good ones though. I did a whole video on it. Any updates on Disney new office construction in Lake Nona? No. I mean, they're just Yeah, they're moving dirt over there. They're moving tons of dirt. There's like, if you go over to Lake Nona right now, there's like all of a sudden big ponds and lakes that never used to be there because they're moving things around. So they still got a couple years, it sounds like. Hey, A Edits, watching for Pittsburgh, still in college. Love to have you down. I'll still be doing this in 10 years. So make sure you come say hi. Hello from Holland, Michigan. Good to see you. All right. So T Wolverine says, any thoughts on selling similar homes in a 55 plus community versus normal community? For example, the two tailor-made communities in Mineola, no longer to sell to 55 and older. Got it. So what I think you're asking is, if you were to sell it in the future, do you have issues with it? Because it's like probably a smaller market. I look at the Villages, which is like the fastest growing community in the country, 100,000 plus kind of stuff. I think if you buy in a community that's 55 and older and they have good amenities and it's in a good location, you're going to do just fine. Pulte has a Del Webb community over in Horizon West called the Oasis, and they're selling them like hotcakes. It's so close to Disney. You're literally 2 minutes from the backside of Disney. And so because of that, you're going to have a good asset on your hands for as long as I can see. And so I wouldn't shy away with it as long as you have sort of, or whomever's taking over your house or whatever it might be, has sort of that sellability in the future. And so they do a good job. I'm trying to think of like some really bad ones. There's plenty of them that are, an hour from Disney, but not quite the Villages that I probably wouldn't buy in. But like some of the stuff that's going on here in Central Florida, I think it's great. All right, I've got another one. I got tons of them here to talk about, actually. Let's talk about Star Cruiser. This is, to me, quite interesting. If you guys don't follow Bio Reconstruct on Twitter, so stinking cool. He's just constantly up in a helicopter, apparently, because he's constantly getting these shots on what's going on. And I thought this photo was amazing just because of the size and scale of what's going on in Epic Universe. So look at this. So this is the Orlando Convention Center, which I just hung out with all week. And if you've ever seen the convention center, it's huge. And then you've got all of this land over here. And this is all going to be Epic Universe. You've got Super Nintendo World over here. They're widening the road over here. They've got a concrete station that they're just pumping out concrete, building stuff. But if you've ever been up and down this road, which is Sand Lake, this is Lockheed Martin. If you want to look it up on a map, this is kind of barren. It's just industrial wasteland at this point. And then they've got all of this land. So the brilliant thing is as they bring this road back over and it kind of swings back around to the convention center, which then connects to iDrive, it's going to really, I think, boom that little area over there. And so for the longest time, when I heard how far away Epic Universe was going to be from Universal proper and where all the other stuff is, I was like, I'm not really sure. That seems, I don't own a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I'm sure they know what they're doing. But now that I see it, I'm like, yeah, that's going to be very cool. It's going to really elongate that whole International Drive area and tie in. I think it's really going to be very cool. Let's see. Yeah, so Jay asks, am I seeing people leave Orlando due to high rent prices? There has to be a tipping point. Here's an interesting thing, Jay. I was at a conference this past week and they had their chief economic officer get on stage and they were talking about how where do we go as an industry, as a real estate industry, and especially with prices to me seeming unaffordable. The average job wages are rising, but not as fast as inflation. But when they polled all of these different credit bureaus on how many people's average wages, like what the average percentage of household income went towards principal and interest of their mortgage, it was only 16%, which it actually hasn't been that low in like 15 years, which shocked me. Like it quite shocked me. And so when I look at how that equates to rent, I think that, owning a house is kind of the way to go. But these apartment builders are building stuff left and right. And so you will have to move farther and farther out to find an apartment that's more affordable. But I guess it's just not as unaffordable as I kind of thought. I don't know. I don't want to seem insensitive because I know a lot of people are getting massive rent hikes, but they're only hiking those rents because somebody's willing to pay it. And just kind of an interesting thing. I know as me as an employer, I have like multiple people that are like on staff. We have a big sales team that's commissioned, but I've got a lot of people on staff that I've had to pay more. Like what I was paying these people 2-3 years ago, I'm paying significantly more today as a business owner. And so hopefully they're able to afford more. So anyways, it's going to be interesting to see. Very interesting to see. What else do we have? Here's one that I think is actually pretty great. So, Florida bill, speaking of budgeting and all this other good stuff, Florida bill would require students to take financial literacy course in order to graduate. Now, this is like, there's already been people that have come out for this and against this. But what is it? Just not getting political. So students would be required to earn 7.5 credits in elective courses, a decrease from the current required 8 elective credits, and that half credit course would be in personal financial literacy and money management, and would add as a graduation requirement. Now, some people think that this could have like discrimination effects and all these other kind of things. I don't know. I look at it from, basic principles of money management, such as spending, credit scores, managing debt, which would include retail and credit card debt, would be a required part of the curriculum. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't learn anything, how to balance a checkbook, anything about credit in high school. It was just, I barely learned it in the little bit of college I went to. And so I think this is good. I think that if this is rolled out properly, I think this is a very good thing. What do you guys think? Wow, goodness gracious. I totally missed a bunch of these. So TK, the average annual salary in Orlando is just under $40,000. And so you've got 2 people in Orlando. Typically, if you look at the census data, the majority of homes are dual income. And so that's $80,000 as a dual income household. Yeah, you got it right there. So it's as of the 2020 census, it was 37. My guess, 2020 was a long time ago. And when you think about wages and how things have moved up, my guess is that it's probably a little over 40 at this point. Spencer says, I want to give a shout out to Liz, who was hanging out. She's fantastic. Appreciate that. She definitely is. Yeah, Jeremiah says, yeah, that looks amazing. So he's talking about Epic Universe. Universal Boulevard will definitely become busier, though. Yeah, the traffic up and down Sand Lake, I know they're going to widen it and put something down the middle, but that whole Universal Boulevard, it's going to be a bit of a mess. What's going on? You made the live show. Welcome. I appreciate it. And we're about to break, 200 people watching live. And to me, that's pretty great. Usually it's a little bit later in the show by the time we get 200 people. So I don't know. I don't know if I could swing 7:30 on Tuesday every week, but I think from time to time we will be hanging out. It'll be cool. Hey, Daniel, as someone who lives in Seattle and considers moving to Orlando, do I think staying there for 10 years will be enough to explore? Any tips on that? Explore what, Daniel? So do I think staying there for 10 days, I'm sorry, 10 days will be enough to explore? Yeah, totally, man. So I would spend, a couple days at the parks and then the rest of the time outside. One of the biggest mistakes I think people think about moving to Orlando and they spend all of their time in the parks and then a day trying to drive around. You got to really get out and realize that it's not all Disney World. It's not all the theme parks. There's great areas of Orlando. There's not great areas of Orlando. There's some shady spots that you are not massively safe. And then there's other suburbs and just gorgeous places around Orlando. So get out there and try to see the different areas and figure out what's important to you. Figure out, what you're trying to do, in terms of the quality of life that you're after. And then, if you have questions on real estate while you're out here, let us know. We can kind of give an idea. What's going on, Javier or Xavier? One of the two, my fault. Orlando neighbor, man, make sure you say hi if you see me. Good to see you. Matt says, support the channel by smashing that like button for sure, or share it if you guys are out and about. We still have about a half hour if people want to come on and ask. All right, so we actually have, this is a good question. What are my thoughts on Dreamfinders new Clermont community, Heartwood Landing, is Dreamfinder's a good builder. So we have, I think, 6 under contract there as a team in Heartwood Landing. And I think Dreamfinder's built a good house. They're super good, like mid-level, quality builder. Are there some that are better? For sure. Are there some that are worse? Definitely. But yeah, they're good. I think like anybody, they're going through growing pains, and they're also growing through supply chain issues and all of that kind of stuff. But I think for the most part, they're a good builder. Let's see. So Lewis asks, is Kissimmee still a good city for short-term rentals? So yeah, I would say that the majority of short-term rentals are in Davenport and Kissimmee, and so like Airbnbs aren't done solely in these neighborhoods. Outside of those 2 areas, Haines City, some of these other ones allow it, but the majority of them are. And so yeah, you've got a ton that are in Kissimmee. I think that, I'm not sure if you've asked or answered, he says, but do you think you could still find some good deals for short-term rental even though prices are going above asking? I mean, that's like saying anything, are pricing on long-term still available? Yeah, I mean, it just depends on where you're looking. I think Airbnbs are kind of more of a dicey investment in my personal opinion. If, again, I've said this before in the past, if you are hiring a management company and you're in a neighborhood with a high HOA, it's very hard to make money on short-term rentals. If you're going to self-manage, there's still plenty of opportunity there, but you just have to know yourself. Like, do you want to run Airbnbs and that kind of thing? Mo says he's moving from California to Orlando this fall. He's an avid golfer. What are the best golf communities in Central Florida? I like Kings Point quite a bit, golf community. Depends on your budget. If your budget isn't like the millions, you're looking at Lake Nona Country Club. You're looking at Isleworth. But there's other ones like that are, that 6 to a million two neighborhood, like Eagle Creek in Lake Nona. Great golf course community, gorgeous, gated, man-gated, near Lake Nona, near the airport. So yeah, those would be my favorite 4 or so. I want to go back up here. I know I missed it. Yeah, so Daniel mentioned, so this is the guy he was talking about coming in for like 10 days to get to know the area. So yeah, I think you'd crush it. Yeah, you nailed it. So go to Winter Park, go to Park Ave, eat up and down, walk up and down Park Ave, get into kind of the communities, get to know your day-to-day life. What does that look like? And decide if this is for you or not. Go to the grocery store, all that kind of stuff. I think is a good idea. Yeah, I think Jay, for one, thanks for hanging out on a Tuesday night, even though I know you're my Saturday dude, man. But we do have an underrated food scene. It's getting better and better. Like you're 100% right. Every day, like we over on the Orlando Reel on our Instagram there, we're putting out stuff all the time on like the hole in the walls and new restaurants popping up. I like it. I think that it's when all of a sudden you have like multiple options and you're really not sure where you're going to eat tonight because you have actually more than a couple options. That's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Congratulations, Pork Rhino, closing on your house on Friday. Welcome. Let's get into a couple more. You guys have a ton of other questions. I want to just kind of go through a few more here. So here's an interesting thing. So the BBC put out an article, Disney park trips surge after COVID measures ease. This was put out 2 weeks ago or 12 days ago. So Disney says trips to US theme parks have surged while subscriptions to its streaming service beat expectations. All good stuff if you are a Disney stockholder. But if you haven't been here and seen the parks lately, it's tough. Again, I had a conference here in Orlando with Keller Williams, which is the real estate brokerage I'm affiliated with. And I had friends trying to get into like any park Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, completely booked, no reservations. Kind of wild. And then I start, hearing from the people from across the country that feel like it's a little bit more safe to come to Orlando. You got, in general, Orange County COVID positivity rates had hit single digits for the first time since December. Those are continually going down. So I think, if you are planning a trip to either move here or just visit the parks, I would make sure you get your stuff set in early. get get your theme park tickets, your reservations, all that kind of stuff. Here was an interesting one that I saw traveling around social media this weekend. The fact that like Disney's Pop Century Resort is $240 a night right now. Disney All-Star Music Resort $194 a night. So you're talking value hotels in the 200 plus range. I don't think I've seen that ever. Like I remember you could get into the All-Star Music Resort for like $99. But again, like demand is at an all-time high. They can charge kind of whatever they want because people are still showing up. So yeah, kind of wild. Let's get back to your questions. Loretta asks, what am I seeing a 5-bedroom pool home and lake homes going for in Horizon West? So if you're looking at lake home, you're probably going to be paying darn near $2 million at this point, wildly enough. Plus $2 million plus, which is crazy because 3 years ago that would have been 1.2 million, but here we are. 5-bedroom pool home though, not on the lake. You know that you're going to range anywhere from 750, 800 on up. You know, it could be 1.5, 1.6, just totally depends. OG Sports Collectibles for spring break, you're going to go to Bonnet Creek Resort. They completely redid Bonnet Creek, the whole entrance. There's the new JW Marriott there, which is very nice. And there's a lot going on there. And so, yeah, I love Bonnet Creek. It's sort of, I don't know why it just dawned on me how great it is, but like now that they've put a little bit more money into it, it's very nice. Oh, snap. What's going on, Alan, my friend? So we're going to talk about this. We're talking about roads next because I've got some crazy stuff. But you just returned from FDOT meeting about Highway 429 widening from I-4 to Seidel, 8 lanes. Scary expansion anticipated to 10,000 more vacation homes for Osceola alone. Yeah, my friend, it's wild. But the thing is, 429 is not very. I mean, right now is not super well traveled. There's really not much going on. So the fact that they're putting money in for expansion now, I think is a good thing. But yeah, Horizon West, everything, when you look at the way that Horizon West connects to Wellness Way over in Clermont and everything that's coming up and down 429, they're going to need to expand. It's just how it is. Here, I want to show you guys this. I thought this was interesting. So the revamped Interstate I-4 set to open with $14 tolls lowered to $3 for introductory rates. And so if you guys don't know what I-4 Ultimate it is, I think there's a photo here, but here you go. You've got I-4 Express, which is kind of all the way up to like Lake Mary up in I-4, all the way down to Dr. Phillips, which is where Universal is. You've got this new toll road, and it's kind of right in the middle. Let's see. Aha, there it is. So let's get this photo. Great photo there. You've got normal I-4 over here, and then right up and down it, you've got this express lane. And so everybody kind of thought maybe like, you know, they'd be at 50 cents or $1 to use it. But no, they're talking about $3 as an introductory rate. And that's if you use the whole thing. If you start in Dr. Phillips, you go all the way up to Lake Mary, $3. That can add up. I mean, if you're traveling that every single day and you're using it every single day, you know, talking a couple $100 a month, you know, that stuff adds up. But then that's just start. It could go to $14 if you're going to use it. And so hopefully enough people use it that the people that are still just rocking it out on normal I-4 can benefit from maybe less traffic. But that kind of shocked me. I'm not going to lie. And the project's been going on for like 8 or 9 years, and it's so far over budget. I know they're trying to recoup some of the costs, but I don't know. If I'm late running from my office in Dr. Phillips trying to get up through downtown, will I pay the money? Yeah, of course, begrudgingly, but I will. And I think other people will too. They're going to test it. We'll see. Let's get into some more questions. Natalie says, "Ooh, this is like, I feel like I need to like take a picture of that." 222 people are watching now on 2/2/22. Dave, I got you a shirt coming. We actually just got it in the mail because I needed to get your size first because your size was gone. It was sold out. But now we've got it. It's going to be coming to you, my friend. Oh, man, Cody. Being born here. Oh, wait, shoot. Hold on. Now there's 222. There we go. Got it. Sorry, wanted to catch that. Natalie had a great little point there. Cody mentioned that he was born here in Central Florida, dude. So you've seen this whole area grow up. You know how it was basically Applebee's and Red Robin as far as the eye could see. And now all of a sudden you look at downtown and all these other things. And so when I hear people say like, that this place is overpriced now, and it's overpriced if you're still comparing it to what it was 10 years ago. Orlando was a very different town, and it continues to be, and it's maturing. And yeah, I think we need more affordable housing. I think a lot of these areas, Winter Haven, St. Cloud, Clermont, need more and more housing to help the people that work at the theme parks that have not seen the wage increases the way they should. But overall, the people that are moving here from California and New York and DC and Chicago and all these places, that they're coming here because it's still way more affordable from where they're coming from. That's driving prices up. And unfortunately, decisions have to be made. Oh man, I just saw somebody ask something about. There we go. Editor, any thoughts on Lakeland, Florida for rental investment, cash flow, appreciation? So to the Batcave, to the map. Here we go. So Lakeland. So what do I think of Lakeland? I think Lakeland, beyond going to watch the Tigers for spring training, is a good opportunity for the long play, very similar to where Winter Haven, which is right here, is going to be good for the long play. Lakeland is right in between Tampa, which is currently the number one fastest growing city in the country, according to Forbes, and Orlando. Like, it's literally dead center. Story goes, and Alan, if you're still watching, you are like the Central Florida guru, the history buff, if you will. That Lakeland was actually supposed to be like the hub. That Orlando was never really supposed to be the hub. That Lakeland was like close enough to the coast, but far enough inland. And you had all of these, like, if you look at I-4 and how things kind of open up over there, there were a lot more opportunity in Lakeland, but Disney kind of made Orlando what it is. And so that's whatever, that's history. And so now I think that as Tampa and Orlando expand, you're going to have a lot of people moving to Lakeland to get affordable housing. And so those prices will eventually go up. So that's a long-winded way of saying that I think Lakeland and all of the other cities around there, Winter Haven and the like, will be good long-term investments, where if you're still trying to get something in the 200s, that like it actually still exists there. And so maybe your cash flow is not like phenomenal. Maybe you get a couple $100 a month, but for the long-term play, if you're looking and if you're sitting on money, check it out. Listen, I've got $5 for those of you asking, can I get a shirt? Can I get a shirt? Listen, if you follow me on Instagram, if you already do, and you're looking for a t-shirt, just send me a message. And like the first 5 people that do that, we will send out t-shirts for you guys. So for sure. What's going on? Just join the chat. Hey, Ken, Big Orange from St. Charles. Good to see you, my friend. Nicholas asks, is the Pro Bowl coming back to Orlando? I had heard it moved on, but hold on. Let's see. Pro Bowl Orlando. Now I need to know. For 4 years, it moved to Vegas. Yeah. Yeah, doesn't say. It moved to Vegas for the first time, and now they're reevaluating. So I guess we'll see. It was voted on by 88 different players and coaches. Will the Pro Bowl be back to Orlando? People are like really passionate about it. Like a lot of results, but it doesn't look like it's been decided. All right, I want to go back through. Yeah, Spencer, this is BioReconstruct is what it is. BioReconstruct on Twitter, actually, is where they post a lot of their stuff, not on Instagram. Sorry, going back. So Danny asks, any word on the Epcot Hotel or Orlando Magic Entertainment Complex? So the Orlando Entertainment Complex, I've noticed that they've been moving dirt over there back and forth. There's constantly big machinery going around there, but they really haven't started building anything there. And it was supposed to have started mid-COVID 2020. That was put on pause, and then there was news that it was back on the table. So it'll happen. I mean, they tore all those buildings down to prep and build that out. And you look at kind of what's going on with like the whole new I-4 and everything building out, that's going to eventually happen, but they're really not, I haven't seen anything. And I'm down there like at least a couple times a week. In terms of the Epcot Hotel, so while permits have, like I see stuff moving around in permitting, like nothing formally has been announced. So Benny asks a great question: Horizon West versus Windermere. So Horizon West is actually part of like Windermere. If you look at like the west part of Windermere, mailing address is actually in Horizon West, and then the south portion of 34787, which is Winter Garden, also Horizon West. It was just basically one big master plan community that crosses over two cities. So they share a lot of the same schools currently. They're right next to each other. Although in Windermere, all of the homes are built out. There's probably, I think, 100 or so new development opportunities, homes in Windermere left between a few of the new neighborhoods coming online, but the majority of it is in Horizon West. So it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something like old and lakefront, Windermere. If you're looking for something brand new, Horizon West. Okay, what else do I got? Oh, this is an interesting one. I think it's an interesting one. All right, so for those of you, Sports Illustrated Resort Hotel coming to Orlando in 2024. And I'm just sort of curious, if you're not staying at Disney and you're not staying at Universal, would this be something that you're interested in? I kind of looked at like the permitting for it. They're budgeting like 20 to 30 million. It's currently in pre-design. I tried to find out where it was actually going to be, and they just have the corporate address in Winter Park still. So that's definitely not where it's going to be. But here's kind of what it's going to look like. They have some renderings on their website, and they say that it's going to open in late 2024. And I think it looks cool. You know, they got a little bit of a market for those of you sports fans. Field of Dreams over here. Looks like they've got batting cages. They've got a go-kart right next to the hotel. I mean, here's the pools, here's the stadium seating, here's the go-karts. And so there's only two concepts like this coming out currently. There's one in DR, which is opening later this year, and then there's this one in Orlando. And so let me know about it down below. I'm just sort of curious, like, is this, does this attract something? Would you go spend some time here away from the parks and just enjoy a Sports Illustrated hotel? Or does this seem kind of like, I don't know, kind of a gimmick? I don't know. You let me know. A bunch of you guys are already messaging me on Instagram, so I appreciate that. Dude, who mentioned this? Sterling Rose. Will Tim Hortons come to Florida? This is a certainty. I've seen this. Somebody just sent me this because they know I'm a Tim Hortons fan. Comes to Florida. Here we go. Sunshine State needs it to. Yes. So Tim Hortons focuses its next phase of U.S. expansion. Here we go. This was just 8 days ago. For snowbirds and retirees. I'm neither of those, but I like Tim Hortons, and I came from Michigan, where Tim Hortons are everywhere. Tim Hortons is eyeing Texas and Florida for its next phase of expansion. So there you go. Sterling, if you're waiting, if you were like, hey, listen, I'm not moving to Florida until Tim Hortons comes, well, buddy, they're coming. They're coming right now. And so you need to come on with it. I'm actually quite stoked about it. All right. So Kelly asked, what's the opening due date for Epic Universe? They said sometime in 2025. So we've got a few years still. But honestly, if you think about like $1 billion development happening in 3 years, like it's still just dirt for the most part right now. That's kind of wild. What are my thoughts on Pulte Homes? I like Pulte Homes. I think they build a good house. They build Del Webb, which is their 55 and older communities. And then they have kind of everything else. Like many builders, they have many different lines of homes. And so depending on which neighborhood you walk into, you might have a really high quality base or kind of a mid-grade base. But I still don't. They're really not playing in that lower third base, if you will. So you just got to look at the model and then ask like, hey, how much of this is standard versus what's upgraded? Take a look at the windows, take a look at just the quality throughout, and then ask what's standard versus what are upgrades. That's going to tell quite a bit. But I like Pulte, and they own a ton of land. Like I had somebody that works for Pulte that said, hey, like Lake County is going to be like Pulte County. We're going to be going hard out there. So yeah, I hope you like them because they're coming. What else we got here? Let's do our little market update. I do this like every weekend. So what's going on with the real estate market here in Central Florida? So what are you looking at? It says Market Watch, new listings, 580, price increases and that kind of thing. So for the year that I've been doing YouTube lives, that new listing number used to be like 800 to 1,000, sometimes 1,100 new homes. And we're talking about, this is a 5-county area of single family homes. And so currently over the past 7 days, there's only been 580 new single family homes listed. So 100 new listings a county. And if you think about, and then when you look at the pending number, reason why it's so much higher is because builders go in and they add their inventory as pending as soon as they sell it. So that way they can get credit for what's going on with sales pricing, and they can have that work to their favor when you're working through appraisals. But yeah, our inventory is significantly down. And so when people say like, oh, a crash is looming, there's 2 things I would write down if you're like a writer while you're watching this. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But I went to this conference and this chief economist was on stage and he was talking about a few key indicators on if we're going to be going into a recession / housing crisis anytime soon. And so for the past 25 years, there's never been so many people with positive equity. In fact, in the last recession in 06, 07, 08, 25% of America was underwater, meaning they owed more on their mortgage than their house was worth. And foreclosure rates were like massively high. We know this. Currently, there's less than 2% of Americans that are underwater of their home, meaning that it's worth less than they paid for it. And so that's a very, very small number. If you look at foreclosure rates, they're less than 1%, which it hasn't been that low in an extremely long time, like literally decades. So currently, our market looks really strong. And I think that for 2022, we're going to continue to see increases. When you look at this nothing of inventory that we have out here, and builders are still not able to keep up because of supply chain issues and workers showing up on time, it's a freaking mess out there. And so I think we have at least another year or 2 of sort of very strong market. And listen, I lived through and worked in real estate in the last recession. You better believe that as soon as I start seeing foreclosure rates uptick, as soon as I start seeing like this number right here where it says expired, which means people tried to list their homes but then failed, that number used to be hundreds a week. People would list their home and then fail, unfortunately, to sell it. And then they would call me and then I would get it listed and sold for them. But as soon as I start seeing these market indicators change, that's why you tune in. I'm going to let you guys know what's going on, if there's something that we need to change in your strategy, if now's a good time to jump in or jump out. And when you do that, that's how you win. So that's what we're here for. Educate and entertain. That's my life. What's going on, Johnny Manning? Hopefully you're doing well up in Michigan. I'm actually gonna go like see what the weather's like here up in where you're at. 50s in the 50s. That's not bad. I'll take, I'd rather 75, which is what it is right now, but just messing with you, man. Chris says that the Lake County is going to explode. I agree. Dude, I just gave it. There you go, my friend. Jay says Guardians is opening Memorial Weekend. Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you seen actually on Bio Reconstruct? He posted some stuff that was really quite cool. You're right. This just announced. Here we go. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Memorial Day weekend. I'm stoked about it. Just another day at the office. Got to test ride the new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. Have you guys seen the new? I gotta show you this. This is kind of wild. If you guys are a fan, hold on. If you're a fan of Cosmic Rewind, here this should show up. Okay, I think. There we go. This is the new base. I think this looks so stinking cool. So this is the right out front. People were complaining that they thought that the theming of it was not the greatest because that big beam wasn't covered. And I don't know. I think it looks looking pretty stinking cool to me. Hey, Michael from China. You plan to move to Orlando. Any new construction communities that I can recommend in Horizon West? There's a lot to unpack there, my friend, and welcome from China. There's probably a dozen new communities that are now open. And so just email me. It's info@positgroup.com. And we'll ask you like what you're looking for, what's important, your price range, what you're after, and make sure that we connect you with the right ones for sure. Royal Oak, Michigan. Look at you guys. I've got plenty of like Michigan folks coming down lately, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The thing I like working with people from Michigan, I'll tell you this selfishly, is that I can say like, hey, Royal Oak is like College Park. And you know exactly what that means. If I'm like, Winter Park is exactly like Birmingham. And you're like, I know what that means. So like, we can help you. So you're buying in Harmony West, and when do I plan on doing a video on that community? So actually, that's on our roadmap for the next 2 weeks, is to really dig into St. Cloud. At the beginning of this video, if you watched all the way through, you know that I mentioned it earlier. I think that it's finally something that we really need to dig into. With that many new homes coming to the area, and there's really not a lot of great information online, that's up to us. That's us. Dude. Snowstorm coming here again this weekend. Condolences, my friend. So if I was going to buy a house, would I choose Osceola or Lake County? I guess where do you work? Like, do you work from home? And then what do you like to do when you're not working? Would be the questions that I ask, because neither Lake County or Osceola County are like super easy to navigate once you leave your house. Although Lake County, I think, is probably becoming easier and easier. And so really just comes down to like what you're after. I think, Osceola County, Lake County, they both have their pluses and minuses. Just depends on what you're after. But both great opportunities for like affordable housing. Lake County has Lake and Osceola County both have like amazing lakes, outdoor nature stuff. But if you want to be like closer to Disney, maybe you do Lake County. If you want to be closer to the airport, you do Osceola. There's just lots of different factors there depending on that question. Are real estate agents allowed to sell manufactured homes? We are. We're not allowed to sell mobile homes. We're like, if they've got wheels on them, we're not allowed to sell it. That's a whole nother thing. We're also not allowed to sell timeshares, which I'm happy with because timeshares are a whole animal. But a lot of people call me to sell their timeshare. We don't do that. We're just not allowed to. You know what? I don't know about the best burger in all of Orlando, but I'll tell you what, shout out to Adler's Burgers down in Davenport. Really, really good. I like a good burger. It's hard for me. If I could have a top 10. That's how much I like burgers. But Adler's down in Davenport, they also have these things. They're like called jalapeno poppers, which everywhere has jalapeno poppers, but they're just like, he's just good. He's really good at what he does down there at the Adler's. All right. Holy moly. So before you guys start piecing out, because I noticed that the numbers kind of fluctuating up and down, I've actually never had this many people watch live before. So obviously the Tuesday night thing was kind of a success. And so we'll definitely do it again in the future. But do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Follow me over on Instagram because I do put out stuff multiple times a day. New stories I come across, kind of like news stories, real estate, all that kind of stuff. Keep you updated. It's at Ken Posick over there. And then let's answer a couple more questions now that I've already unplugged it, if you will. Melissa, great question. In my opinion, Clermont or Mineola, I would choose Clermont, just because of like there's like a lot more going on. This downtown area, the city council is very pro expansion in a really good way. Mineola is just smaller, right? I think that you can get a little bit more money, or a little bit more house for your money in Mineola, but I would choose Clermont personally. But if your budget doesn't allow it, then Mineola is like right next door. So Quentin asks, if I was going to buy a home today, would it still be in Winter Garden, or would I buy in Clermont, St. Cloud, and Lake Nona? Well, Lake Nona is more expensive by far than Winter Garden, but I would probably look at options in Clermont for sure. The Wellness Way project, if you guys haven't watched our video on that, the Wellness Way Olympus project, that whole thing coming in is going to be very impressive. I think with the new schools coming in, new infrastructure, it's going to be easy to get around soon enough. Something to definitely keep on your radar. Mandy asks, would I recommend visiting an Orlando Magic game if your team is playing? The Orlando Magic have not been that great lately, but if your team was playing them, heck yeah, it's a great facility. I love the Amway Center. It's great. So yeah, I would definitely do it. All right. Gosh, there's a lot of other questions here that I totally just came across. Dave asks, are we in a park bubble that will slow down in a year or so? If interest rates keep rising, which they pulled back this week, funny enough, like everybody was like, oh, they're going to the moon. They pulled back again. I still think they'll probably end up at 4.5-ish by the end of the year. Hopefully that slows the market down. Listen, I'm not a guy that wants to see the market keep going 20%. I would love if we went back to a 2 to 5% appreciation. That would make my life easier, make your life easier, just be healthier for the overall market. But inflation's out of control. So do I think that the market pulls back in a year or so? I mean, I hope so, but I don't know. I think this year is as far as I can see. And by the end of this year, we're probably going to be up another 10%. Matthew said tennis facilities. So if you have not checked out the USTA over in Lake Nona, the USTA is incredible. Hold on a second. No, look at this. If you're a tennis fan, this is like the USTA national campus, and it's just gorgeous. I'm not a tennis guy, but this is like, holy moly! You got the clay courts. It's just beautiful. So they've got, I think the national TV headquarters is moving here. It's very, very cool. And if you are part of Lake Nona, you can jump on the Beep, which is like the automated little car that takes you around Lake Nona. It'll take you right there, drop you off, pick you up, and take you back into your neighborhood. If you can stomach it going 15 miles an hour, which is how fast it goes. But what a cool amenity for that area of town. Yeah, so looking to move in 2023, is it a safe bet to start the build process in Horizon West soon? How long is the build process? Amazing question, Benny. So usually we would quote anywhere between 6 and 8 months, but this is not usual by any means. So I would buffer 10 to 12 months for a build right now. So if you're looking to move next summer, you should probably buy mid this summer and at least get your idea of where you're going to move first. So if you're looking at a specific neighborhood, not every neighborhood is going to have a lot that you would like available immediately. So what you need to do is go visit with one of my team members and we can get you on the list. Sometimes we can get you bumped up the list. Actually, a lot of times we can get you bumped up the list, and let's narrow it down. And then that way, when the next phase opens up or the next lot release happens, we can put you in a good spot. So yeah, it's wild how long stuff's taken these days. Oh, here we go. So yeah, sorry, man. I apologize that I did miss your question. So many questions. I think mine got lost. Sending again. Thoughts on Golden Oaks and the Four Season high rates and the land behind Four Season residences. So I think the land behind the Four Seasons residences, well, if you're talking like closer to Magic Kingdom, I believe that's going to be a DVC resort. I don't believe they're putting another neighborhood right next to Golden Oak. It wouldn't make sense, but the high rates at the Four Seasons are quite wild. If you're talking about like to stay there the night, yeah, I think it's like $1,000 on low season and $1,500 on high season. It's very expensive to stay there. But again, people are paying it, wildly enough. But Golden Oak is sold out. If you don't know, there's still homes being built there, but those are people that purchased, a year ago, 18 months ago, finally are now able to build their house. And so if you're interested in buying in Golden Oak or the Four Seasons at Golden Oak, it's going to be resale. And so I've got a few buyers right now that we're working with that are looking for stuff. Kelly asks, will the build process be just as long for other places in Lakeland? Yeah, it's not just an Orlando thing. It's a countrywide thing. Supply chain issues being what they are, places like Lakeland are going to have just as hard of a time. But with that, Quentin says Tuesdays over Saturdays. We'll see how we go from the future here, but 250 plus of you guys hung out with me on Tuesday night here. So I am forever grateful. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you found something that you weren't able to find online before, you didn't know before. You're going to take away something maybe will excite you to move here or just be proud that you live here. I'm just super excited to be an ambassador for all things Orlando, real estate, theme parks, and just in life here. So anyhow, make sure you follow me online. And if there's anything I can do for you, just ask. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.